The average American spends over $1,800 a year on clothing, and still stands in front of a packed closet every morning feeling like they have nothing to wear. Meanwhile, the average Japanese person spends roughly half that, owns a fraction of the garments, and somehow always looks polished, calm, and perfectly put together. It is not because they have more money or a personal stylist. It is not because they are a different species with a magical fashion gene. It is because they have habits, specific, intentional, shockingly simple habits that turn a chaotic closet into a calm sanctuary, and a stressful morning into a quiet ritual. I copied 20 of them over the past year. My closet is now effortlessly minimal. My mornings are faster, my spending has plummeted, and I have never felt more confident in what I wear. Today I am going to walk you through all 20, ranked from the simple tweaks to the deeply transformative, so you can steal them for yourself. We start at number 20. They treat the closet like a sacred space, not a storage unit. Most of us treat our closets like a dumping ground. We shove things in after a long day. We pile sweaters on shelves until they lean like the Tower of Pisa. We leave dry cleaning bags bunched up on the floor. We kick shoes into a dark corner and close the door quickly so we do not have to look at the mess. A Japanese closet or ashiire is different. It is treated with a quiet reverence that borders on the spiritual. The door is opened with intention, not flung wide while you are half awake and muttering about being late. Everything inside has a designated place and is returned to that place at the end of every single day. A shirt does not get draped over a chair to be dealt with tomorrow. A belt does not get dropped on the floor. The closet is a system, and the system is respected. This is not about being fussy or obsessive. It is about recognizing that the space where your clothes rest is an extension of how you care for yourself. When I first heard this, I thought it sounded a bit precious, a bit too delicate for real life. Then I spent a week consciously opening my closet door slowly, straightening one thing before I left in the morning, and folding a sweater that had slipped from its stack. By day 4, I noticed something strange. I wanted to keep it nice. The habit became self-reinforcing. I would open the door, see the neat rows of folded shirts, the evenly spaced hangers, the absence of clutter on the floor, and I would feel a small pulse of calm. I would close the door gently, almost gratefully. A 2022 study from Osaka University found that individuals who maintained highly organized personal spaces reported significantly lower morning cortisol levels. Your closet is not just a closet. It is the first room you enter every day, and the way it looks determines the emotional tone for the hours that follow. If you open that door and see chaos, your brain registers chaos. If you open that door and see order, your brain registers order. Treat it like a storage unit, and you will feel like you are storing your life. Treat it like a sacred space, and you will feel worthy of that care. Try it tonight. Open the door, remove one thing that does not belong, and close it gently. See how it feels. Number 19. They hang clothes with breathing room. Walk into any American department store, and you will see racks packed so tightly you can barely slide a hanger between garments. We bring that same energy home. We cram 40 shirts onto a rod meant for 20. We force hangers together until they squeak in protest. We treat closet space like a game of Tetris, where the goal is maximum density. Japanese closets, by contrast, honor the concept of negative space. There is visible air between each garment. A wool coat is not pressed against a cotton shirt, which is pressed against a polyester blouse. Each piece has room to breathe, to exist as an individual object rather than part of a compressed mass. This is not just aesthetic, although the aesthetic payoff is immediate and striking. Fabric needs air circulation to release moisture, to prevent odor, to maintain its shape. When you wear a shirt all day, it absorbs moisture from your body. That moisture needs to evaporate. A packed closet traps humidity against the fibers and creates the perfect environment for mustiness, for wrinkles that set into the fabric like concrete, for that stale smell that you can never quite identify, but that clings to your clothes no matter how well you wash them. I went through my closet with a ruthless eye and donated enough that I could leave a full inch between every hanger. The visual effect was immediate. My closet suddenly looked like a boutique, not a clearance rack at a going-out-of-business sale. But the real surprise was how much easier it became to see what I owned. When every shirt has space, you can actually register every shirt. Your eye can move from one to the next without them blurring into a single stripe of fabric. You stop forgetting about the one hidden in the back. You stop buying duplicates because you cannot find what you already have. You stop feeling that vague frustration of knowing you own something perfect for this occasion, but being unable to locate it. Give your clothes room to breathe, and you give yourself room to think. The closet stops being a source of low-grade anxiety and starts being a place of clarity. Number 18. They never wear outdoor shoes inside. This one is so well known it has almost become a cliché, but its connection to your wardrobe is rarely discussed. In Japan, outdoor shoes come off at the entryway. Slippers go on. This is about cleanliness, yes, but it cascades into how you treat your clothing in ways that are easy to miss. When you wear outdoor shoes inside your home, you track in dirt, oil, pollen, and microscopic grime from sidewalks, parking lots, and public floors. That grime settles into carpets, onto hardwood, and then transfers to the hems of your pants, the cuffs of your dresses, the bottom of a robe that brushes the floor when you sit. Over time, your clothes degrade faster. The hems get stained with a grayish-brown film that is nearly impossible to fully remove. They need more washing. Each wash cycle beats the fibers, fades the color, weakens the seams. The fabric breaks down years before it should. When I committed to a strict no outdoor shoes policy in my apartment, I noticed within 2 months that the bottoms of my trousers stayed cleaner longer. My lighter-colored linen pants did not develop that faint gray shadow along the hem. My socks stayed white on the bottom. The entire apartment felt cleaner, which made me feel cleaner, which made me want to keep my clothes cleaner. A study from the Kyoto Institute of Technology found that indoor airborne particulate levels dropped by over 60% in homes with a strict shoe removal policy. Less particulate in the air means less grime settling onto your clothing. It is a deceptively simple habit that extends the life of every single thing you wear. If you want to go further, get a pair of house slippers and keep them at the door. Your floors will stay cleaner, your clothes will stay cleaner, and you will have created a small ritual of transition every time you come home. You are leaving the outside world at the threshold. Number 17. They fold, they do not pile. Open a typical American dresser drawer, and you will see stacks. A stack of t-shirts, a stack of sweaters, a stack of jeans. The problem with a stack is that the item on the bottom is being slowly crushed by the weight of everything above it. Week after week, month after month, that bottom shirt is being pressed into a dense, wrinkled brick. It also becomes invisible. You wear the same 3 shirts from the top of the pile, while the 5 underneath fade from memory entirely. You forget you own them. They might as well not exist. The Japanese method, popularized globally, but genuinely rooted in traditional kimono storage, is to fold each item into a compact rectangle and store it vertically, like a file in a cabinet. Every single piece is visible the moment you open the drawer. Nothing gets crushed, nothing gets lost. Nothing hides in the dark for 2 years until you find it and wonder why you ever bought it. I spent a Saturday afternoon refolding every drawer in my bedroom using this method. It took 2 hours. My back was slightly sore from leaning over the dresser. The next morning, I opened my t-shirt drawer and genuinely laughed out loud. I could see every shirt at once, a neat row of fabric rectangles standing at attention. Getting dressed felt like choosing from a curated shop, rather than excavating an archaeological site. I could see the collar of every shirt, the color of every shirt, the condition of every shirt. A 2023 survey from the Japan Interior Design Association found that individuals who used vertical folding reported a 40% reduction in the time it took to select an outfit each morning. It sounds absurd until you live it. Fold, do not pile. Your clothes will last longer, your mornings will become dramatically simpler, and you will finally use every single thing you own. Number 16. They practice Furoshiki storage for off-season items. Furoshiki is the Japanese art of wrapping objects in cloth. Most Westerners associate it with gift wrapping or carrying bento boxes, a charming cultural curiosity. But in many Japanese homes, off-season clothing is wrapped in large Furoshiki cloths and stored in closets or under beds. This is not just charming, it is practical genius that solves a problem we have all experienced. A cotton furoshiki allows the fabric to breathe while protecting it from dust. It prevents the yellowing that happens when you store a white shirt in a plastic bin for 6 months. It repels moths without the need for chemical mothball that leave your sweaters smelling like a toxic waste site. It absorbs excess moisture and releases it slowly, maintaining a stable microclimate around your clothes. I bought 4 large Furoshiki cloths from a shop in Kyoto during a trip 2 years ago. They are simple squares of cotton dyed a deep indigo. Last spring, I wrapped my winter sweaters in them, folding the cloth with the precise corners and tight knots that the shopkeeper showed me. When I unwrapped them, in November they smelled fresh. Not perfumed, not chemical, just clean and neutral. There was no must, no moth damage, no crease lines from being folded into a rigid container. The ritual of wrapping and unwrapping also adds a layer of seasonal intentionality that plastic bins completely lack. You are not just shoving things in a container and forgetting about them. You are putting them to rest with care. You unwrap them with anticipation. It changes your relationship with the object. You are not storing inventory. You are caring for something you value. Number 15. They use cedar, not chemicals. Japanese closets and chests, known as tansu, are traditionally made of paulownia or cedar wood. The wood itself acts as a natural insect repellent and moisture regulator. This is not folklore, it is chemistry. Walk into a modern Japanese home, and you will still find small blocks of aromatic hinoki cedar tucked among the sweaters, slipped into drawers, resting on closet shelves. There are no synthetic lavender sachets that smell like a craft store exploded. There are no chemical mothballs that leave a toxic, acrid smell on everything you own and probably take years off your life. Just wood, simple, fragrant, functional wood. I replaced the plastic drawer liners in my dresser with thin sheets of untreated cedar and placed a small hinoki block in my coat closet. Within a week, the faint, clean forest scent had infused my clothes. It is subtle. It is not a perfume. It is not overwhelming. It is just the smell of something natural and alive, like walking through a stand of trees on a cool morning. More importantly, I have not seen a single moth hole in 2 years. The cedar absorbs excess humidity in summer and releases it back in winter, passively regulating the microclimate around your most delicate pieces. A 2021 study from the Forestry and Forest Products Research Institute in Japan confirmed that hinoki oil vapors effectively inhibit the growth of common textile bacteria and deter clothing moths. Your grandmother may have had a cedar chest for a reason. The Japanese never forgot that reason. They refined it, perfected it, and made it a quiet cornerstone of how they care for their clothes. Number 14. They steam, they rarely iron. Ironing is a punishing chore. It requires a bulky board, a hot, heavy appliance, and a level of patience that most of us do not possess at 7 in the morning. It is also, in many cases, damaging. A hot iron pressed directly onto fabric can create shine on wool, weaken cotton fibers over time, and scorch silk in an instant. One moment of distraction, and $100 shirt is ruined. Japanese households rely far more heavily on steaming. A garment steamer uses gentle, moist heat to relax fibers without crushing them. It is faster, it is gentler, and it can be done while the garment is hanging. You do not need a board. You do not need to clear a surface. You just hang the shirt, fill the steamer with water, and let the steam do the work. I bought a small handheld steamer after watching a friend in Tokyo refresh her blouse in under 90 seconds before we left for dinner. She was wearing the blouse. She did not take it off. She just ran the steamer over the front. The sleeves, the collar, and the wrinkles vanished like a magic trick. I have not touched my iron in 8 months. My clothes look better. They retain their natural texture. Wool keeps its loft, cotton keeps its softness. I am no longer terrified of ruining an expensive shirt with one distracted pass. The habit also encourages daily maintenance. Because steaming is so quick, you are more likely to do it. You refresh a shirt before you wear it instead of letting wrinkles set in for weeks. You look sharper with less effort. That is the entire philosophy in one small appliance. Number 13. They lint roll as a daily ritual, not a panic fix. In the West, we tend to notice lint, pet hair, and dust only when we are already dressed and running late. We catch a glimpse of ourselves in the hallway mirror, see the constellation of white fuzz on our navy sweater, and grab a sticky roller. We frantically swipe at our thighs, our sleeves, our chest while the car warms up outside and our stress levels spike. In Japan, a lint brush or roller is kept near the jenkin or the closet and used as a calm, deliberate part of getting dressed. It is not a crisis response. It is a finishing touch, the final step in the ritual of preparing yourself to meet the day. I started keeping a wooden lint brush on my dresser. It has soft, natural bristles and a small handle that fits in my palm. Every morning after I am fully dressed, I give my shoulders, sleeves, and lap a quick, unhurried pass. It takes 20 seconds. The effect is profound. I look consistently cleaner. I notice when a sweater is starting to pill and can address it early with a fabric shaver before the pills become a permanent texture. The ritual signals to my brain that I am complete, that I am ready to walk out the door with intention. There is a quiet dignity in being free of fuzz. It is such a small thing, but people notice. They may not know what they are noticing, but they perceive you as more pulled together, more considerate, more serene. You look like someone who pays attention. Number 12. They own fewer shoes, but maintain them obsessively. The average American owns over a dozen pairs of shoes. Many sit in closets scuffed, dusty, and forgotten, worn once to a wedding 3 years ago and never touched again. The average Japanese person owns far fewer pairs, but each pair is cleaned, polished, and stored with shoe trees after every wear. Shoes are removed at the door, wiped down with a soft cloth, and placed carefully on a rack. Leather is conditioned. Soles are wiped free of gravel and grime. Laces are straightened. This extends the life of the shoe dramatically. It also transforms how you feel when you put them on. A well-maintained shoe feels like a tool you respect. A scuffed, neglected shoe feels like an afterthought. I cut my shoe collection from 20 pairs to 8. I donated the ones I never wore, the ones that pinched, the ones I was keeping out of guilt. I bought cedar shoe trees for all 8 remaining pairs. I now spend 5 minutes cleaning and conditioning my shoes every Sunday evening. It has become a meditative practice, a quiet way to close the week. My shoes look newer now than they did 2 years ago. The leather has a soft, rich patina. The soles are clean. I walk differently in them. I stand taller. The Japanese understand that shoes are the foundation of your physical presence. They connect you to the ground. They determine your posture, your gait, your comfort. Neglect them, and you are neglecting the very base of how you meet the world. Number 11. They dress for the season, not the calendar. This one is subtle but transformative. In the West, we tend to dress by date. It is March, therefore it is spring, therefore we wear spring clothes. Even if there is still snow on the ground, and the wind chill is in the 20s. We suffer through cold ankles in early April, because the calendar told us it was time for cropped pants and ballet flats. We shiver in linen, because the fashion industry declared that linen season begins on Memorial Day. Japanese wardrobes are deeply attuned to the actual sensory experience of the season. They dress for the temperature, the humidity, the quality of the light. There is also a cultural practice of seasonal transition, where fabrics like wool are worn well into early spring, and linen does not appear until the genuine, settled heat of June. I stopped looking at the date and started looking out the window. I wore my wool coat on a cold May morning, without feeling like I was failing at spring. I put away my sandals when the evenings turned crisp in September, instead of clinging to summer out of stubbornness. My comfort level soared. I also noticed that by aligning my clothing with the real weather, I felt more connected to the natural rhythm of the year. I noticed the first cool morning. I noticed the first truly warm afternoon. My wardrobe became a way of paying attention, not a way of performing a date on a grid. I was no longer at war with the weather. I was in conversation with it. Number 10. They embrace the art of kintsugi repair. Kintsugi is the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with gold lacquer, making the cracks a visible, celebrated part of the object's history. The philosophy is that breakage and repair are not something to hide. They are something to honor. The object is more beautiful for having been broken and mended. This philosophy applies directly to clothing. A small tear in a beloved shirt is not a reason to throw it away. It is an opportunity to mend it visibly, beautifully, with sashiko stitching or a carefully chosen patch. The mended garment becomes more personal, more unique, more treasured than it was before. It now carries a story. I tore the elbow of my favorite wool cardigan last winter. It was a deep charcoal gray, soft as a cloud, and I had worn it for years. In the past, I would have guiltily stuffed it in a drawer and eventually thrown it out, feeling wasteful and sad. Instead, I took it to a tailor and asked for a visible mend, a simple leather patch on both elbows in a slightly darker gray. It came back looking like a design choice, like something from a high-end heritage brand. I now get compliments on that cardigan constantly. People ask where I bought it. The repair did not diminish it, it elevated it. It made it mine in a way it was not before. A 2020 study from the University of Tokyo found that individuals who practiced visible mending reported a significantly stronger emotional attachment to their clothing and kept garments an average of 3 years longer. When you repair with gold, you are not fixing a mistake. You are adding a chapter. Number 9. They never try on clothes in a rush. Buying clothes in the West is often a frantic, pressured experience. We grab things off racks. We squeeze into fitting rooms with buzzing fluorescent lights and unflattering mirrors. We make split-second decisions based on poor lighting and rising anxiety. The fitting room is not a place of contemplation. It is a place of survival. In Japan, trying on clothes is a slower, more respectful process. Shoes are removed before entering a fitting room. A face cover is often provided to prevent makeup from staining the garment. The act of trying something on is treated as a deliberate evaluation, not a panicked sprint. I have adopted this slowness even in American stores. I breathe before I enter the fitting room. I take my time with each garment. I move in it. I sit down in it. I reach forward, I twist. I check how it looks from the side, from the back, under different light. I ask myself not just does this fit, but does this feel like me? Does this fabric feel good against my skin? Does this cut allow me to move naturally? Does this color make me look alive or washed out? This single shift has eliminated almost all of my bad purchases. The clothes I buy now I keep. The frantic yes has been replaced by a calm, considered yes, or more often, a grateful no. I walk out of stores empty-handed far more often than I used to, and that is a victory. Number 8. They have a strict one in, one out rule. Japanese homes are famously small. Closet space is minimal. There is simply no room for accumulation. This physical constraint has birthed a powerful psychological habit. For every new garment that enters the closet, one must leave. This is not just about space. It forces a moment of honest comparison. When you hold a new shirt in one hand and scan your closet for its sacrifice, you are asking a real question. Is this new thing better than something I already own and love? Often the answer is no. The new shirt goes back on the rack. The impulse fades. I have been practicing this for 18 months. My closet size has remained stable. The quality of what I own has steadily risen. The churn of cheap, impulse purchases has stopped entirely. I now own fewer things, but every single thing in my closet is something I actively chose over something else. That is a powerful filter. It forces you to confront the reality of your choices. You cannot accumulate mindlessly when every addition demands a subtraction. Try it. Next time you buy a sweater, decide which sweater is leaving. If you cannot bear to part with any of them, you do not need the new one. The old ones are enough. Number 7. They store clothes by category and color, not by outfit. A common Western organizing mistake is to group clothes by outfit. This shirt goes with these pants, so they hang together. This jacket goes with this dress, so they live side by side. This creates rigid combinations and hides the true versatility of your wardrobe. You wear the same outfits over and over because that is how your closet is organized. Japanese closets are typically organized by category first, all shirts together, all pants together, all jackets together, and then by color within each category. Light to dark. This turns your closet into a visual gradient. It is stunningly beautiful. It is also functionally brilliant. When all your blue shirts are together, you can instantly see that you own 7 nearly identical blue shirts and maybe do not need an 8th. When all your pants are in one place, you can mix and match with any shirt because nothing is mentally prepared. I reorganized my entire closet by category and color one rainy Sunday. I took everything out, sorted it into piles on my bed, and put it back in a new order. The next morning, getting dressed felt like playing with a perfectly sorted palette. My outfits became more creative. I started pairing things I had never combined before. The gradient of color is also deeply calming to the eye. It makes your closet feel like a deliberate composition rather than a chaotic jumble. Number 6. They practice shibui restraint. Shibui is a Japanese aesthetic concept that is difficult to translate directly. It refers to a kind of understated, subtle beauty. An object that is shibui is simple, muted, and reveals its quality slowly over time rather than shouting for attention. It does not demand to be noticed, it waits to be discovered. In wardrobe terms, it means choosing clothes that do not rely on loud logos, aggressive patterns, or trendy gimmicks that will look dated before the season ends. It means investing in texture, in cut, in the quiet confidence of a perfectly constructed garment in a deep natural dye. A shibui shirt is not covered in branding. It is made of heavy, substantial cotton that softens with each wash. A shibui jacket has no visible label. It has a beautiful lining, a perfect drape, a collar that sits just right. When I began prioritizing shibui pieces, my wardrobe started to feel timeless. I stopped buying the neon statement sweater that would feel embarrassing in 6 months. I started choosing heavy cotton, raw silk, garments that felt substantial and calm. The effect on my daily life was surprising. I felt less visually noisy. I felt more like myself, not like I was wearing a costume designed to impress. People began to compliment my style more, not less. They noticed the quality, not the volume. Shibui is a quiet superpower. It whispers while everyone else is shouting, and in a loud world, the whisper gets heard. Number 5, they air dry almost everything. The dryer is a modern convenience that comes at a steep hidden cost. High heat breaks down elastic, shrinks natural fibers, fades colors, and wears out fabric at an astonishing rate. Lint is, quite literally, your clothes disintegrating. Every time you clean the lint trap, you are holding the remains of your favorite shirt. In Japan, even in small urban apartments where space is at a premium, clothing is air-dried. It is hung on poles, draped over folding racks, clipped to balcony lines. The sun acts as a natural disinfectant, killing bacteria that cause odor. The air preserves the integrity of the fibers. The process is slower but infinitely gentler. I bought a simple wooden drying rack and stopped using my dryer for everything except sheets and towels. The change was dramatic. My clothes stopped shrinking. My t-shirt stopped developing those tiny holes near the hem. The color stayed true for years instead of months. The morning ritual of hanging laundry also became a quiet moment of mindfulness. I noticed the weight of a wet linen shirt in my hands. I noticed the smell of clean cotton drying in the sun. My clothes lasted longer, and I felt more connected to their care. A 2019 study from the Tokyo University of Agriculture and Technology found that air-dried cotton fibers retain tensile strength up to 40% longer than machine-dried fibers over a 2-year period. Your dryer is eating your clothes. Unplug it and let the sun do the work. Number 4. They plan outfits the night before as a ritual. This habit sounds almost too simple to include, but its impact is so profound that it belongs near the top of this list. In many Japanese households, the next day's clothing is laid out the night before. It is not a rushed grab. It is a quiet, intentional arrangement. The shirt is hung on a hook. The pants are folded over a chair. The accessories are placed alongside. Socks are paired and set next to shoes. This does 2 things. It eliminates morning decision fatigue, which is a real cognitive drain that affects your entire day. Every decision you make depletes a finite reservoir of mental energy. By removing the what should I wear decision from your morning, you preserve that energy for things that actually matter. It also allows you to check your clothing in a calm state. You notice a missing button. You see a small stain on the cuff. You realize those shoes need a polish. You have time to fix it, to choose something else, to solve the problem before it becomes a crisis at 7:45 a.m. I started doing this every night at 9 p.m. It takes 3 minutes. My mornings are now almost absurdly smooth. I wake up, I wash. I put on the clothes that are waiting for me like a gift from my past self. There is no panic. There is no second guessing. There is just a quiet, dignified transition into the day. Try it tonight. Lay out tomorrow's clothes before you brush your teeth. See how your morning feels different. Number 3. They honor the concept of Mottainai. Mottainai is a Japanese expression of regret over waste. It translates roughly to what a waste or too precious to waste, but it carries a deep cultural weight that a simple translation cannot capture. It is applied to food, to resources, to time, and profoundly to clothing. Throwing away a garment that still has life in it is Mottainai. Buying something cheap that falls apart after 3 wears is Mottainai. Letting a beautiful piece sit unworn in your closet for years, tags still attached, is Mottainai. This single concept reshapes your entire relationship with your wardrobe. It makes you a more careful buyer, because you know that buying something you will not cherish is a form of waste. It makes you a more devoted caretaker, because you want to extend the life of what you already own. It makes you more creative in reusing and repurposing. When I internalized Mottainai, I stopped buying fast fashion entirely. I could not unsee the waste. I started mending, altering, and cherishing what I already owned. I started buying second-hand, giving beautiful garments a second life. Mottainai is not about deprivation or living like a monk. It is about deep appreciation. When you truly appreciate something, you do not waste it. You honor it. This one word changed my closet more than any decluttering method ever could. Number 2, they dress for themselves, not for others. This is the most liberating habit on this list, and it was the hardest for me to truly absorb. In the West, we dress for an audience. We dress for colleagues, for dates, for strangers on the street, for the imagined judgment of people we will never meet. We wear uncomfortable shoes because they look impressive. We wear constricting clothes because they signal status. We contort ourselves into garments that look good on Instagram, but feel like punishment on our actual bodies. Japanese style, at its core, prioritizes personal comfort and self-expression within the bounds of social appropriateness. The question is not what will they think. The question is, how does this feel on my body? How does this align with who I am? When I finally made this shift, my entire wardrobe changed. I stopped buying things that looked good on the hanger but felt wrong on my skin. I stopped saving uncomfortable clothes for special occasions that never came. I prioritized natural fibers, relaxed silhouettes, clothes that moved with me instead of against me. The irony is that when you dress for yourself, you actually look better. Comfort and confidence are visible. A person at ease in their clothing radiates a magnetism that no amount of external performance can replicate. I now wake up and put on clothes that feel like a second skin. I forget about what I am wearing by mid-morning. That is the goal. Your clothes should not be a costume you endure. They should be a quiet, comfortable extension of yourself. And number 1, the most transformative habit I copied from Japanese wardrobes. They treat getting dressed as a daily practice of self-respect. This is the foundation beneath every other habit on this list. It is the reason the closet is treated as sacred. The reason clothes are folded with care. The reason shoes are polished and lint is removed and outfits are planned the night before. Getting dressed in Japan is not a chore. It is not an obligation to be rushed through so you can get to the real part of your day. It is a daily act of showing up for yourself with dignity. When you treat getting dressed as self-respect, everything shifts. You no longer wear stained, stretched out clothes around the house because you deserve better than that. Even when no one is watching. You no longer skip the lint brush because you are running late, because those 20 seconds are an investment in how you carry yourself. You no longer buy cheap, disposable clothing because you are worth more than something that falls apart after a season. This is not vanity. This is not superficial. It is the quiet, private practice of treating your body and your presence with care. In Japan, even a simple task like taking out the trash is done in clean, presentable clothing. Not because the neighbors are judging, but because the act of being presentable is a form of self-respect that does not require an audience. I began to ask myself a single question each morning. What would I wear if I truly respected myself today? The answer was never the sagging sweatpants with the hole in the knee. It was never the shirt with the missing button that I kept meaning to sew back on. It was something clean, something comfortable, something that made me stand a little straighter and breathe a little deeper. This habit has spilled into every other area of my life. When you dress with self-respect, you are more likely to eat with self-respect. You are more likely to work with self-respect. You are more likely to set boundaries and speak clearly and move through the world as someone who matters. Your closet is not just a closet. It is the place where you decide, every single morning, how you are going to treat the person you are about to be. Treat that person well. They have a long day ahead.